Hey guys, hey, it's Whiskey, and we are back with season two, episode 8
I think so.
of the Everybody Can't Go podcast. I'm your host, Whiskey, and I'm here with my co-host, TK. What's good, TK?
What's going on?
Hey. And we just got Randy on camera
Yeah, we
because
just on
we just like
camera.
to chat
Let's
with
come
him.
on. Let's come
So
on in.
yeah, come on in. You're a friend of the show. I like calling you that.
Yes, I love doing cameos on the show. It's a pleasure to be with you guys again. And peace and blessings, everybody. I'm just excited to emote, release, talk about whatever we decide to talk about.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
here for
because
it. I'm here for it. It's just good to be amongst your people. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
yeah.
To be amongst your people.
You really trying to make me emotional. I feel like you waited till the camera cut on it.
No way. No
Mm-mm.
way.
Mm-mm.
You was
Nah,
Mm-mm.
like, I know Whiskey's mood. I'm gonna make her cry.
no way. But if whiskey does cry,
Cry.
they gonna get this good
Listen,
cry today.
I'll cry with you.
That's a
I'll
part. I'm
cry.
about to say
I'll
that's a
cry with
part
you.
of it. Like
We can
they're
sit
gonna
here
get
and
this good
cry.
cry today.
We
Either
can
you
sit
gonna
here and
edit it out or they gonna see it. That's it.
I can't edit, so here we are.
Then now they know you got feelings. Shit.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right. That's why we're here. We're gonna get into it.
I I am grateful. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, these are my friends. That's really cool. I'm going through a lot right now, but long story short, I was just like, I have a mental thing with being around the wrong people. And I was watching this attachment specialist talk about you need people around you who mirror yourself back to you, who like see you
Mhm.
as you are and like get it. And I feel
Mhm.
like I've been in environments and situations where I'm not understood and people aren't getting, and it makes me feel crazy. And then like that moment reminded me like, oh, there are people who get like I can chill. And I literally said to God the other day, I was like, I need you to show me the people who like get it, the people who see me as I see myself, or at least there's some overlap. Everybody can't just not get it. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, I've been in the trenches, so that was a really cool moment. I'm glad that's recorded. I'm gonna watch that back in book.
That's all right.
I feel like
But
that's
yeah,
just like what you just explained is, and not to, because your situation and is very unique, but creatives, I feel like we just carry and wear so much. And sometimes because I feel like we're also the gatekeepers of the community, we see things before others may see them. And so we express things creatively to drive mood, can't say the word, we express things creatively to drive movement.
Yeah.
And I think it's a catch-22 for us because we can carry so much emotion
Yeah.
behind the work that we're doing because we see the cause ahead of
Yeah.
us and people just don't get it. People just don't understand right away. And so I'm happy that we're having this moment because I get you and
Yeah.
I see you
Yeah.
and I totally understand the
And I want to get you.
place that you,
That's the thing.
yes,
I don't just
yes,
get
yes,
you
we're
because I
here.
get you. I
We
get
all
you because
here.
I want to.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean? And
definitely.
I literally was having a conversation while she get herself together, guys. I was literally having a conversation with somebody earlier today, and they were telling me about how this community has made them feel very I'm gonna say like isolated, right? Because you get these friends and you're dealing with people, and then you realize that everybody's not like you. And then all these crazy things start happening because people really just want to be seen and all the stuff
Mhm.
we always talk about, right? And I told him, I said, that's the blessing and the curse. Literally, what I said. That's the blessing of us kind of leading with our hearts, right? And wearing our
Mm,
emotions on our sleeve. That's
yes.
that's how we that's how we see the world.
Hmm.
But it's also the curse of not having the intelligence to go along with it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
you're leading with the emotion, but you are not, walking in the intelligence that helps to anchor that emotion. That's what a lot of the artists are missing. You know what I'm saying? So they're doing all of this feeling and getting out and want to express and stuff like that. And then you get out there and you have this feel good moment because somebody clapped for you or they snap for you or whatever. But because you're not aware of yourself
Mhm.
and you're not aware of your surroundings, you take that and that shit puffs you all the way up, and then you start acting weird. You know what I'm
Mhm.
Yeah.
saying? Instead of having the emotional intelligence that keeps you grounded
Mhm.
while people are loving and appreciating your art, like
Mhm.
you got to see that as them valuing the gift. You've turned that into you. You've
Mhm.
made you and the gift synonymous, and
Mhm.
you and the gift are not the same. The gift can
Uh-uh.
be snatched from you at any second.
Mhm.
It's like that.
Mhm.
What's that little movie where I think it was like Bow Wow or something, but where they wear the shoes make them good basketball players, and then as soon as they lose the shoes, they can't play. You know what I'm saying? One of them type things, one of them movies where you need something to make you great. I
Mhm.
feel like that's what people don't realize. Like you have to have respect for the gift,
Mhm.
because that saying where people say, your talent take you places your character can't keep you. That's so real,
Yeah.
because you are now misusing the thing that God gave you to be
Mm.
like someone. And I hate that I'm about to say this out loud because who knows who's watching, but I'm also glad I'm about to say this out loud because I hope they're watching. That a person literally like was telling me that they had an experience where someone didn't agree with something they did or didn't like it or whatever. And then actually their friend now, we're talking
Mhm.
about a friend. Their friend actually wrote a piece about them that was negative and actually performed it in front of them that was negative, like a diss piece. And I'm like, so you used your art, like what God gave you, like the wit and the all of that. You used all of that to conjure up ill will towards someone you supposed to care about?
And
Mhm.
that's the antithesis of what we're supposed to be about, because behind the scenes, unfortunately, this is for your be about it journey. If you are
Right.
appearing this person publicly through your art, then behind the scenes you have to have the tough conversations, you have to mend the friendships, you have to repair, you have to humble yourself, you have to
Yeah.
realize you're the problem,
Yeah.
all of that. And you take away the intimacy of relationship when you're
That's
like,
right.
I'm gonna put it in the art first and make it spectacle without reconciling
Yeah.
with the person.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
Yeah.
like, and that's an avoidance strategy. That's like
Correct.
the height of passive
Passive aggressive.
aggression.
Whew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
That
disgusting.
the
Disgusting.
audacity.
And it's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's so easy to as especially as an artist to emote on the stage, right? Because that's our place to be comfortable. That's the place where,
Because
but
it's
it's
avoidant and it's not
difficult.
real
It is very
intimacy.
difficult, the one-on-one and trying to resolve. I can speak personally on that. I'll
Oh
get on the
yeah.
mic and I was preach, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would preach on the mic and but then my one-on-one relationships, it didn't translate.
Yeah.
And that was the work that I had talking about deconstruct everything. That was a part of the work that I had to do. I'm like, well, am I showing up
Let's get
two-faced?
into it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Am I showing, how am I showing up? I'm one way, like I think you mentioned it, I'm one way on the stage or, doing programs, whatever I'm doing. But then when I get behind the scenes, like, is this the same person? And so I had to consolidate
Yeah.
the
I call it
images that,
integrity work,
Yeah.
like making sure you're
yes.
not compartmentalizing. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's the box I'm in right now. And thank you for that. Because sorry to interrupt you, but that was that you really helped me because I punched a wall earlier. So I know when I have an emotional outburst that I am not well, and there are little telltale signs like my house just being a mess and like things fall by the wayside. And I've been like doing little stuff to kind of get there, and it's like, but I punched a wall, and then last week I threw a cup across the room, and I was like, let me just log on to growth therapy. and and there's shame in it, but also there's the okay, I can recognize it now
Hmm.
before I'm like, passive aggressively hurting someone or, before it was just like you just snowball and become a disaster and just like destroy everything in your wake. And because it's like you can't see yourself, but then you look crazy if you're on stage doing one thing, then you come home and you're like Your wife looking at you like, really?
Yeah.
That
And
was that
that,
was
no, go ahead.
that was the I feel like the crux of my anxiousness and anxiety of having to or feeling like I had to wear so many different hats and I couldn't
Yeah.
just be, like you said, grounded in me, in
Mm-hmm.
all of me, the
Mm-hmm.
good, the bad, the in between. I couldn't be grounded. And so I had to show up and
Mm-hmm.
perform
Mm-hmm.
everywhere on stage and off stage. I'm
Yeah.
performing. And so it personally created this anxiety that was like an engine inside of me, and it revved, and next thing you know, I'm just an anxious mess all over the place because I wasn't comfortable with me, with who I was. And so I said, as again, as creative, it's just easy to want to make people feel good, but at
Yeah.
what expense, personally, am I making people feel good?
Yeah.
And they don't return it. So
No. Yeah.
I always have to check my intentions when I'm trying to like make people feel good. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
I can't regulate or make myself feel good. So I'm gonna try to give it to this person. Maybe they could give it
Mhm.
back to me. And most people are
Mhm.
like, ah, yes. And then
And
they
run
go,
off and run off.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
take
they
their
run off
goods
with
and
you.
go. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's interesting because I had to recalibrate how I do things as an artist because I realized I do have that element of like wanting to like heal or help and find the problem and like be the solution. But then it's like I'm pouring all this into people and you don't get anything back. It's thankless work. And I was like, I think that was me for a season and I had capacity for that in a season. But I think in this season, I want to like redirect that energy back into what I want to do.
Mhm.
In yeah, let that be a thing and get used to pouring into myself and then
Yeah.
seeing like you like
Yeah.
what TK always said, see what runneth over. But right now we not running over. Like
Mhm.
we still pouring.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
but you will, and that's the thing. But it's because of how we've been taught and conditioned. You know what I mean? We've been taught to be everything to everybody except ourselves. Like
Mhm.
we look at people in relationships and everything, and it's like people can name off all the things that they've done or tried to do to get someone to love them or
Mhm.
Yeah.
respect them. You know what I mean? And not
Mhm.
once in them naming any of that
Mhm.
do they ever actually say what they did to love and respect themselves? Because at that moment, they would stop doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
They would
Mhm.
stop actually trying to go through their little checklist of how I'm gonna make this woman or man or friend or parent or whoever love and respect me by just loving and respecting themselves. And
Mhm.
then when you do that, then everything else just starts to either fall off or flow. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? It gets lonely sometimes, but it gets better. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? For sure. It
Mhm.
gets lonely, but it gets better
Pause.
because then you find
It
your
gets
tribe.
lonely. It gets lonely. It gets lonely. It's very isolating.
Yeah.
I'm always here to remind people of the pain. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
babe, but guess what? It's lonely, but you do start to find your people. But that's where you realize you just have a faithful few. That's what I was telling the girl earlier. I said, for me, I'm not really interested in finding a lot of friends and having a lot. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in having a village. You know what I'm saying? People that they live in their house, on the street, living their lives
Mhm.
on the street. But if they heard my alarm going off, they probably gonna look out the window. That's
Mhm.
village. They're
Mhm.
not over here in my
Mhm.
business, at
Mhm.
my dinner table, in my
Mhm.
bedroom, all in my space. We not together and having dinner all the time, but we are village. We are there
Mhm.
when it counts. We are there for what counts. There to do what counts. That is what I want. I
Mhm.
don't need people around here every day in the way. I
Mhm.
need people around here that's going to pick up a slack that I can't carry at a time that really matters in my life. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
village, and that's enough for me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And I had to learn that the heart always had people around. I mean,
Yeah.
always had people around. Never got anything out of that
Mhm.
but heartache. But heartache. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
but heartache. Like sometimes I sit and I think and I say to myself, like, you paid for this life. And
Mm,
what did you get? Like
mm,
you paid for this. You bought this person dinner and you gave this person rides and you helped pay that bill and they was hurting and so you did this. And every time somebody needed somebody thrown out, they called you and you was over there and you threw this
mm,
party and you did this then and you did
mhm, mm.
It's like Great Gatsby.
and
It's
now
very performative, you know. It's
crickets.
just
Crickets. But that's the thing. But I paid for that.
yeah.
That's the thing. It wasn't them, it was me.
Mm,
And
hmm
now that I don't pay for play,
hmm
now I see what it really looked like. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
But I would rather be in this silence in my own mind where I have the ability to feed itself what it really needs. All of the stuff I was going to tell them, I could tell me.
Tell yourself.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm not telling them and for still forgetting to tell me, and then they leaving with my words, just like Whiskey just said. They taking their stuff and running and going. And
Hmm
now I need somebody to say it to me. No, I don't.
hmm
I need me to say it to me.
Yeah.
And
This
so
piece is
that's the stage of my life that I'm in. And and
mm,
and and yes, it gets hard and it gets quiet and it gets lonely and it gets sad and then it gets hard and then it gets quiet and it gets lonely and it gets sad. And then I have a moment like
On
this
an
where
endless
I'm with my
loop.
village. But then I
hmm
have a moment like this when I'm with my village. So even if only every 2 weeks on a Wednesday or Thursday, I'm gonna take what God has for me right now. It's gonna take care of itself.
And that is a discipline. It really takes a discipline to rise up out of it and be like, let this be enough, right? Because it's like I want the sustained feeling of being seen. I want the
Yeah.
sustained feeling of the dopamine rush or serotonin or whatever kicks in when you're hanging with your friends and you're geeking. And yeah, just mentally, I think I'm getting into my perimenopause, ADHD, neurodivergent, like
Mm-hmm.
chaos. And
Yeah.
I don't know how to not make it a drug. I don't know how to not be like, okay, I need to regulate or
hmm
or the other end of just like I can't have it, so I'm just going to isolate and just not have it and just like kill the parts of me that wants connection and wants any sort of reciprocity from someone, because it's just easier to go it alone. And it's just, yeah, it's just a mess. And I think that we all struggle with this, especially
Yeah.
just like everything going on in the world where we are collectively spiritually and post pandemic. I think we're all wanting connection more than ever and really bad at it.
Yeah. And keep in mind, it doesn't matter if you are single, married, dating, whatever. Like keep me and Rena are married. We share the same
Yeah.
bed every day. Nobody sleeping on the couch, nobody doing none of that, nobody even spending the night outside this house. It's never happening. And then there's still times where you still feel like you by yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Oh
saying? And
yeah.
not connected because of
Oh, I've
every
been
other
married.
thing that's going on. No, I'm just saying, like, so it's one of those things that just so for the listeners that's watching, it doesn't even matter if you're alone or if you got somebody around.
hmm
Those feelings, they gonna bubble up in you regardless. But I feel like that's a part of the journey and the work and the healing.
I went through one of my loneliest periods, married and with the child. Like you said, one of my
Yeah.
loneliest periods in my life. And that was a period of me doing the tearing down to build up
Mm-hmm.
because I had to go it alone. There
Yeah.
was nobody else that had my exact experience. So I had some things to learn. My
Mm-hmm.
wife couldn't tell me. She didn't have the same experience. She wasn't raised Seventh Adventist. She don't have the same background as I had.
She was traumatized.
So so it was very lonely because then I have like my church friends who, they're still very churchy, and that's cool. And I support them, and I go out and I even go to concerts and that type of stuff. And then I have, my friends who aren't churchy, but they ain't really doing the spiritual thing. They not, it's not,
Like not me yet.
they're not. And so I felt myself in this space where I'm like, well, dang, I don't got my church for nobody really understands the process of deconstructing that I'm going through. So it was very lonely and scary at times, not having a fallback person. And so I had to become the fallback person. Like I said, I had to speak life into the grave that lived my vision and my purpose and everything. I had to unearth some things. I had to relearn, unlearn, and relearn, and you got to go it alone.
Yeah.
You got to go it alone because it is something so personal, something so intimate. When
Yeah.
you are building a relationship, like a true relationship with God,
Yeah.
there is
It's
no
the
blueprint.
wilderness.
Yeah, it is no blueprint
Wilderness.
for it. It is no, I mean, we have the Bible, but for me and my relationship with God, there is no blueprint for it. I had to tap in
Yeah.
to hear and
Yeah.
to the higher power to know the path for me. You know what I'm saying? To do my own healing. And it's not like I didn't call on other resources because in that process, I went through EMDR therapy, which was a beast in and of itself. Just thinking about it gives me you know, shakes. I had to, outside of therapy, I also had to consult with other spiritual leaders. It wasn't like I'm just out here alone. I still had conversation with people. I still watched other, YouTubers that gone through
Yeah.
deconstruction and hearing what their experience was. But at
Yeah.
the heart of it, it was me. It was me and God, and we had to reconcile together.
Yeah. I hear that. I feel like for
Right.
me, I kind of had to do it more in a professional space, especially having had a job that I was at for 20 years. Like a lot of the people that I knew, they didn't understand that, people moving job, stuff like that. So to be in something for so long, you like get groomed in a certain kind of thinking about what life is supposed to look like. And, my grandparents and my parents always about find you a good job and you work it and you do it, you know what I mean? So the loyalty of that, and I feel like I invested a lot into that only to realize that like wake up one day and know that that's just like a program, and then wondering how much of my time I had wasted away doing that, because the job is never going to tell you you're doing too much for them. They're only going to tell you you're not doing enough for them. Like
Yeah.
they're going to say, "Oh, you don't have to work those extra hours," but they're never going to tell you to stop. They're never going to say, "Oh no, that was, you chose that." But they're never going to say, "No, don't choose that." You know what I'm saying? And I think having to like being in therapy and going through all of that and like realizing that I had PTSD from a job that I love, like I love to this day. I have not
We
loved the
love our
job
abusers.
the way, yeah. To this day, I have not loved the job the way I love that job. And I think now my whole mentality about being in the working world and all of that has changed dramatically from going through that experience. But I think that now I just remind myself that it's important for me to have boundaries and put myself first. Like, yes, I do have to go to work and make a living because that's the world that we live in. You know what I mean? So I do got to show up and do my part. And this is a bartering system. I perform tasks and in turn I get income and resources. You know what I mean? But the idea of extra miling and, you know, over delivering and all of those things. Like I literally had to go through like figuring out who I am in the
Yeah.
workplace now. And sometimes
Wow.
it makes me sometimes I feel like it going back to what he was saying about there's like an anxiousness that comes along with it, but it's because I want to be doing so much more. You know what I mean? Because A, I feel like I need to, but B, just innately, I just like to see things go from A to B, like from this to that. You know, I'm a change agent. So
Yes.
I want to
Yes.
see change take place. But then I also have to know how that's showing up in my body and in my
Mm.
mind and in my relationships and how much I pour out there. And then I don't have the time to give it to myself. You know, I don't have the time to give it to my family. Like in my first marriage, she used to always say, like, you need to talk to me like you talk to those people at your job. You know what I'm saying? Like the phone will ring at 2 o'clock in the morning and I will have I'm in the bed, eyes closed, the lights still off, everybody sleep. And I sound like it's 9 a.m.
Yeah.
because knowing how to switch that thing on like it's nothing. You know what I'm
You
saying?
know, that's that
Um,
Nikki Giovanni, James Baldwin conversation, right?
yeah, yeah.
That lie to
Like
me. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? Her thing was like, nah, you have that for the you have the capacity to be however they need you to be so that you don't ruin a relationship with them. I need you to be whatever you need to be so you don't ruin a relationship with me. You know what I'm saying? And
And the
granted, that
cognitive dissonance of that, because technically you're having that relationship with them to provide for her. So it's like, I'm doing this for a reason that is benefiting you, but I don't have capacity. And I think that's what we get robbed of our capacity.
and that's where I'm at now, where finding the balance of 100%. The first one was right. The second one is not even going to know what wrong looks like. That's the difference. Like now, I know that the wrong I gave there, I know not to give that here. I know that there's boundaries for that. And I know to show up in a way that always have loving words on my tone, you know, loving words on my lips, loving tones.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even when I'm frustrated. And don't get me wrong, like I'm a person, right? But at the same
Yeah.
time, I make sure that I am treating all these people around me the same way that I would treat that job if the job called.
Yeah.
It's my job to do that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's my
Mhm.
job to show up for them in that same way. If not more so than the job. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Mhm.
Recognizing that they are paying me also. They are
Yeah.
paying me in relationship. They are paying me
Mm.
in connection. They're
Mm.
paying me in loyalty and respect. And I think a lot of times that was a huge part of me having to kind of break that down because to your point, my first response is, so how you gonna eat? Like what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Or did you
what?
eat?
Yeah, but yeah, like what? Did you just go to school and didn't
Mm.
work? Did you just get braces? Did you what?
Mhm.
Did you just get a car? Like what? Like wait, you know why I'm getting up to do this? Because I don't need none of that stuff. Like in my head, as a
Mhm.
person that's solo dolo, I'm a nomad. I'm a couch surfer. I got a book bag. I don't need a car. I don't need
Mhm.
four walls. I'm just out here. I'm everywhere and nowhere at the same time by
Mhm.
myself.
Mhm.
I work as hard as I work when people are connected to me because I have to do it to ensure that everybody here gets what they need out to do. There's a lot of conversations and, you know, abuse and stuff like that that I've taken in the workplace because I need to make sure that this thing right here exists. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I think a bit of resentment was bred in both of us for that reason. It's like I feel like she was resenting me because I could give them something that she felt like I couldn't give her. And then I was resenting her because I'm like, you don't see what I'm going through. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
At the same
Mhm.
time, to bring this to you, you know, but thankfully I'm in a much healthier environment for myself. You know what I'm saying? Before we even get to the relationship, you know what I'm saying? The work that I've had to do with myself, I'm in a much better place. And so now with work, like, I show up at a job and I do it. You know what I'm saying? I tell them all the time, between your hours to your hours, ask me to do anything but something degrading. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It's a job, it's whatever. But at that time, when it ends, it does end for me now. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I don't take it. I was just talking to Rena the other day, and I was like, I don't even talk about my job. Whereas before, I talked about my job all the time.
Mhm.
I don't even talk about work. You know what I'm saying? Like, she might ask me something and I might answer it, but I don't even bring it home with me. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, I can't. I can't and be stable. And there was a time where bringing it home with me was how I was stable, or at
Mm.
least that's how I felt stable. I felt, you know what I mean? But again, that was me earning my keep and paying for it. I'm paying for it and I'm paying for it.
Mhm.
And I'm asking to be validated through all of this extra stuff that I'm doing and be seen. And you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
This is
And
really
got
fascinating.
nothing and got nothing out of the deal though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when the time came for them to for them to twist and turn, they twisted and turned and it didn't matter. All those hours, they were gone.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
time, it was gone. All that exhaustion, all that cramps in your arms and your legs and can't sleep and
Yeah.
this and that, all of that, I paid for
Mhm.
it.
So that's so
Mhm.
interesting. Like your deconstruction work, like it seems like it all like came to this big head, like because you were caught in the wheel of capitalism. That's so
Yeah,
wild to me because I feel like that is so relatable to especially us in this DC area, but especially like the high powered people who are always on their phones, always working, burnout, burnout, burnout. And then there's always a happy hour. There's always something to abuse or some substance to distract from the fact that you're not really living. So I find
yeah,
that fascinating. I didn't put that together because I remember when you were going through the stuff with your job, but I didn't put that together. That yeah, it's getting caught in the wheel of capitalism and exploitation in the workplace and how it can become your identity, infect your entire
yeah,
lives. And I think that's a
yeah,
major issue
yeah,
with like families.
yeah.
Mhm.
Who
Even
Yeah.
I
even
didn't
when
even know who I was
yeah.
anymore. I had
Yeah.
Yeah.
to I had to redefine all of that. I'm
Mhm.
still redefining
Mhm.
all of that to this second.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Even when it's not for the bread, for the money, when you even your passion, your hobbies, the things that what drives me is just through and through is community. Like
Yeah.
I had somebody at a conference a while back. She had prophesied to me, and it didn't quite sit with me, but she was like, "You're a man for community." She said, "Your work." And when she said it, I was thrown off because I was deeply entrenched in church and I was doing a lot of stuff. But she said, "Your work is not in the church. Your work is in the community." Um, and so that message stuck with me and I took it to heart. I felt so connected to it. And so then I started doing a lot of work in the community. Like I've always been doing work, but I've just picked it up to the point where I don't get tired. I work 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And then I have a family. They say, "Where you been? I haven't seen you. I want time too." You have so much, you have all this energy for community, but you don't have the energy to take, your son to the playground. You tired now, you know what I'm saying? And so I had to do my own work with that. I'm like, but I know this is community is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like community, and my wife tell me, she was like, your passion is community. Like I see it through and through. I know you love your family, but your passion, like what like gets you
Right.
going
Yeah. Hmm.
You have the
is
Midas
community.
touch.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm working
So
with you, I be telling artists like this is a Randy thing, yo, Randy.
But
Yeah.
I I have to balance that because
Yeah.
I am so passionate about it and I can literally work around the clock when it's
Yeah.
something doing something like this. But
Yeah.
I had to be reminded, and they say repent is to change your mind, to think about. I
Yeah.
had to repent about that thing and say, you know what? I'm doing this because of my family, because I don't want my son to grow up in a community that's disheveled, is not safe, and we don't have quality resources and food. And so my why it's still my family. And
Right.
so I have to strike a balance where and now I'm involving my family and all of my community. Like I'm like, and so
Yeah.
we've created a
Yeah.
family unit around
Yeah.
the community work that we've been doing. And
Getting
Omari has
everybody
been
involved.
they're all involved. Amari has claimed the farmers market as his own. He's a 40-year-old. He runs the market. He goes out helping people. And so
I love
it's
that.
become a family thing for us. And even still, I have to be still. I have to focus on where I'm truly planted at, and that is my home.
Yeah.
Yes, I know the community is out there. The community is my passion, but it can't wear me into the ground to the point where I'm neglecting home,
Yeah.
And so it's a challenge because uh that's what I want to do nonstop. But I have to be still, recognize what's going on in my home, recognize what's going on in myself, because even when I'm working in the community, I'll be on a go, 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 not taking the time to pray, not taking the time to eat the right thing, not taking the time to do my grounding, not taking the time even for my
Yeah.
garden because I'm
To be
so
about it,
entrenched. Yes, I'm
essentially.
so entrenched into
Yeah.
teaching and telling and helping the community.
Yeah.
I wake up and my anxiety is through the roof. Like, why am I so anxious? Oh my God. I wake up and I'm like, okay, I need to do this for the community. I need to go do this. And it's a great thing, but I lost the mindfulness of it. I lost the stillness of like checking in with myself,
Mhm.
and checking in with the my home and checking
And
in.
being
I
close to
get
the earth.
and getting close to the earth. And so it is something that I have to think about, especially as on the heels of the markets and the festivals. Randy, take time, check in with your family, check in with yourself, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And level set, fill your own cup up, because it gets hard doing the right thing
Yeah.
can be also the wrong thing for
Yeah.
you at
Yeah,
times.
we talked about that last time because sometimes it's doing a good thing, but not the right
Hmm.
thing. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And that's how we end up missing, our marks on what it is that we need to do. And I think going back to what you were saying, like me, I know that I was made for the people. Like that is it. I was
Hmm.
made for the people, even though sometimes people,
They,
eh,
Oof.
I know I was made for the people.
What
And
I say,
so,
what I say, whiskey? I say niggas gonna nig.
yeah,
Niggas gonna
you know what I'm
nig.
saying? And so that was the other thing with my other job, you know what I'm saying? Like and I'll tell people this in every interview I ever had, you know what I'm saying? Like I want to be somewhere where I can use my gifts because if I spend most of my time somewhere and I can't use my gift there, then I'm squandering it because I'm
Mhm.
spending 80% of my time in this environment, whether it's physically or just thinking about it, preparing for it, whatever it is. Like I'm spending most of my time with you all and doing these things. So if I'm doing that, I have to be able to be who I am there too. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? In order
Yeah.
for this to be fruitful, for me and be aligned with my purpose. Otherwise, I'm squandering the gifts that God gave me, and that makes me uncomfortable. And I think
Mhm.
that that's really what started to turn the tide when I was at that last job and going back to the whole deconstruction thing and you know how that affected me like getting in alignment with my purpose and God and what in my relationship because I could feel it pulling me away from myself.
Mhm.
Like it was important to me as a manager because I was in a management role and it was important to me as a manager to be speaking life into my employees. You know what I'm saying? It was important to me to be having the tough conversations. Like the way I managed people and dealt with them, I dealt with them with their emotional and mental health in mind. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm literally the kind of person that I would tell my employees, please only come to work if you are in A, B, or C status. If you are in D status, I am strongly encouraging you to call out. I
Mhm.
am. Because if you're going to show up and not be able to give me what I need in order for us to perform and do what we need to do, then you're taking something away. You're not giving
Mhm.
something back. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But I'm upfront and honest enough to have that conversation as a member of management. You know what I'm saying? But other managers are not going to say that. They're not going to do that. But that's
Mhm.
me every day. That's how I show up in this world
Yeah,
every
yeah,
single day.
yeah.
And that's what makes me feel whole, being
Hmm.
me.
Yeah,
The way I need to be me, you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And be thinking about people's holistic experience, even in the workplace.
Hmm.
And going back to what she was saying, like, them people in corporate America, they don't want to hear that. They
No,
want
time
to
for that.
get these slaves up in here,
Yeah.
get this
Mhm.
work done, and I'm
And then
just
get
not
on out.
comfortable. I'm not comfortable with being that because then, from an integrity standpoint, going back to what you were saying, like that means I'm one way here, or you guys are asking me to be one way here versus how I am there. And I got to be the same person in both of these places. Otherwise, it's starting to like create this whirlwind on the inside of me. And at the end of the day, this is a moment in time. These people are going to see me somewhere else outside of this job. And I need for them to remember me as a person who stood in good character, good
Mhm.
morale, and integrity, whether it's on this side or the other side. I want them to know that I was who God made me, not who the world made me. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And
Yeah.
as soon as I start feeling like people taking me outside of what God made me to be,
Yeah.
the
Oh.
battle and struggle that comes up inside of me at that moment, like it almost like pulls me apart. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I really had to like figure out how I was gonna be in this work, and that's why I want to ultimately get like into training and development because I want to get the people at their core. So I want to build them up from the beginning, walking through the door. You know what I'm saying? So it's been a lot, man, but I'm grateful for the experiences that I've had. Is the work that I'm doing right now as fulfilling? Um, I would say no, but not because of the work itself, but because I'm just still trying to figure myself out how to be me
Mhm.
in this world, but not of these practices. And you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I'm still learning as like this my first wave outside of that last job. So I'm still like getting my feet wet.
Mhm.
But it was hard. Like the PTSD was tough. It was like one of those relationships where you love a person, they hate your guts. They tell you they love you. They abuse you. Then they, you know what I'm saying, what you call it, love bomb you. Then they try to give you, you know what I mean? Like it was just like this
A narcissist,
ongoing.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it
all
really is like,
narcissistic systems.
yeah. And like I started to get to the point where I just couldn't even stomach going into the place because I could no longer actually look at the people
Mhm.
and see the physical part of the person. Now all I can see is that ugly thing that's
Mhm.
seeping out of you. And I couldn't even like relate any I started to not even be able to hide it anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a lot. It was a
Mhm.
lot.
Mhm.
Yeah. But I'm grateful that it did teach me that I do know who I am. What I walked out of that feeling good about was that I actually am a great person. You know what I'm saying? And my moral compass actually is intact. And I do walk in integrity in all the things that I do, even when sometimes it doesn't land me in what I feel like is the right place at the right time. Um, but I know this is just a stepping stone for wherever I belong because I feel much worse when I am not me.
Yeah.
As bad as the things may feel like when I am me, I am at my best.
I'm here at your
You
best.
know what I'm saying? When I am me, I'm at my best and I feel my most comfortable.
So, we, and this goes back to deconstructing everything, because how I was raised was that you, as a Black man, you have to show up 10 times better. You have to outperform. You have to,
Oh
a
yeah,
Black man,
100%.
on top of that, you're a black, and you're a Christian. So you have to double, triple. perform, be performative. You have to make people happy. You have to, like you said, go the extra mile because hey, you're a Christian and this is what we do. We go the extra mile and we extend ourselves and we show a strong emotional front for people and we're here to help and we're here to help and we get into this role even in a working situation
Yeah.
where we feel like we have to perform. We have to be better. We have to show up. And we understand that that's unfortunately the society that we live in, that we
The conditioning.
unfortunately we gotta do things better than our white counterparts. We gotta show up in different spaces better and this, that, and the third. But at the end of the day, what are we sacrificing when we show up just being a show? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Showing
Yeah.
up, just performing.
Yeah.
What do we lose
All of
in
it.
turn? We had I started growing the first time I grew my locks. I was working for an
Oh, I
investment
remember that.
company. I was working for an investment company and I had some people at my church that I was going to in Baltimore saying like, you work for an investment company, they're going to take you with the locks. I was just like, I want to wear locks. Like I don't, I didn't really understand the question. So it stuck with me, but I said, you know what? As time grew on, I started working for the bank, the investment bank, and I drawn my locks out. I ended up leaving the bank and going working somewhere else. And the my manager at the time, who was always complimenting me and this, that, and the third, said, "You think Randy's not gonna?" He told another colleague, "Randy's not gonna go far with his locks in the investment world. He needs to cut his hair because he's not." And so I took that and I cut my hair because I'm just like, "Oh, well, I think I all right. So let me go ahead and cut my hair." But I felt so bad doing it. I'm just like, I just let somebody when I cut my hair, I'm like, I just let somebody tell me
You
how
performed.
far I'm
Yeah.
gonna go.
Yeah.
And I went on and cut my hair. I grew it back. I ended up going to another firm and I grew my hair back. And I got the same thing. Like you go on your life, you work for an investment company, you should consider that. And I said, you know what? I'm going to show up. I'm going to have my locks. I'm going to do a good job, but I'm going to be me. This is how I want to show up. I was just still top of my team as far as investment transfers. I was still my clients love me. Didn't have any issue. And I'm like, why did I feel like why I had to cut my hair the first time? You know what I'm saying? I gave into it. I people pleased because somebody else told me that I wasn't going to make it, and I made it with my locks.
Yeah.
And I have other stories with my locks with the police. That's a whole different
That's a
conversation
whole
because
poem.
I had a whole poem about my my encounters with the police and
TK is
my
like that.
locks.
We gonna have your interpretation.
Facts. Hello. We got room.
You was like, oh, do you?
Yeah. Up my alley.
Yeah.
Up my alley.
Yeah. So,
The
and
underlying theme. Go ahead.
yeah, I was just saying it's just I say all that to say, I had to slowly but surely peel some of the onions back of how I felt like I had to show up
Yeah.
Yeah.
performative, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And it's crazy that you say that because like I spent a lot of time, like when I first got that job I love so much. Um, I spent so much time like in a closet, you know what I'm saying? Not like obviously most people were going to see me as masculine presenting no matter what. But because I was in the uniform, am I not? You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't like I was trying to make myself something else. I just wasn't trying to make myself me. You know what I'm saying? At the same time. So it was one of
On
those
mission.
things because being black, woman, lesbian, masculine presenting in a predominantly white male environment, like I am like minority squared, you know what I'm saying, in this environment. And so it was like I was literally getting married and had not talked to any person about it at my job.
Mm.
Not one person at my job even knew I was getting married. When I would talk about at home, I would say us or we or that, you know what I'm saying? Like I would speak about it in a way that you wouldn't know one way or the other. You know what I'm saying? Um, and it was crazy because it wasn't until I got a boss who was, I'm gonna say she was masculine presenting because that's how we see it, but I do know in their world sometimes they look masculine presenting, but they ain't, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes they can walk around with them little buzz cuts and shit like that, and they just like that, and they got husbands and shit, you know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, she showed up as my boss, and so it was like I'm literally like watching how, everybody's interacting with her and how comfortable she is. And I'm like, uh, I admire it, but then it also was like doing something to me because then it was like then I felt like, well, she only can do that because she's white. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like she's gonna be accepted for that reason. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be accepted in this environment that way. You know what I'm saying? And then finally one day we were talking and she like asked me what I was doing that weekend. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm getting married tomorrow. And she looked at me like, what? You
Okay.
know what I'm saying? Like what? And she told me, she said, never like when you have stuff like this going on in your life. I know people sometimes are personal, private and stuff like that. But she said, like, you do have to learn how to entrust some of these things to someone. And if you're in a working
No, you
environment
don't.
where, well, she was like, well, if you're in a working environment where you can't entrust people with these things, it's more important for you to consider the environment than to keep that in. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And that like turned a light on for me. So from there, obviously, I'm making other, decisions and stuff like that. And now, I just am who I am. I talk about Rena all the time,
Mhm.
talk about the kids all the time. You know what I mean? But those were the things that like I went through to exist at work and be who I felt like they needed me to
Need to be.
be
Mm.
to fit into this box that I was raised to perform in, you know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? And all the while not even giving them the best version of me because I wasn't actually being me to begin with.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And then wondering why it's not turning out the way I wanted it to.
Yeah.
Because there still was a part of me that was with all that I was doing to pay for it. There was still a part of me that I had reserved, you know what I'm saying, that I hadn't let out, that I hadn't unleashed. So I was still part of the problem.
Mm.
It was a
I
lot.
I keep
Yeah.
thinking of the word Randy mentioned that keeps coming up is perform.
Yeah,
And I'm like, I really love that like definition of deconstruction. It's like finding out where am I performing? Where
yeah,
is this not
Mm.
real? And
yeah,
Mm.
I as Randy was talking, I could relate to what you were saying about the upbringing in the church because even today, like my major work is deconstructing performative femininity. Like
Mm.
under like allowing myself to be myself and understanding because I'm a woman, then that's that's what that is, right? Like I realized that that good Christian man who can do no wrong and I was born and raised to be his helpmeet. I am here to be behind the black man, helping him to lead us into the promised land when really he's dysregulated and
Right.
held up in a pedestal, the biggest narcissist you ever did meet. And I'm behind the scenes propelling the engine through sweat, tears, and labor. And it's like, that's and that's
Yeah.
that's the
Keeping
that's
the
the
fire
performance that
burning.
you sign up for. It's like behind the scenes, like I'm not getting any emotional reciprocity. I'm not getting any love because you don't know how to love, and neither do I. I know how to give and to serve and to play feminine. Like I know that I can't refuse my body if you want to have sex with me because you are a man of God and you have needs and you can't and so it's interesting what it has been to deconstruct that from the way
Mm,
that I've been
Yeah.
brought up in like a
Yeah.
benign patriarchal household. And then, making the decision to leave my husband and realizing like I used to cover my face because I didn't want people to know that I was like discarded trash. Like this didn't work out. Who is my identity if I'm not a helpmeet to this man? Like what am I going to do? So even now it follows me when I'm in my ambitious bag and I'm accomplishing a lot of things. And one of the reasons I didn't want to fully heal and deconstruct my hypersexuality and all this other stuff is because I was like, oh, I know it's going to be lonely. I know that I'm going to have to sacrifice romantic relationship with the majority of men because I am not showing up as the kind of woman that they were promised, the kind of
Yeah.
woman that they were socialized to expect. And it's like it's been interesting. Like even like Saturday, I have a set with the band, and this is the first set that I've done where I'm not talking about me being foolish in romantic relationship. And I realized that I always feel the need to throw in a very vulnerable piece that shows that I've made bad decisions in relationships and they just need to know this and they need to see this about it. It's like, no, you don't. We're not there anymore. And I feel like the as far as like doing that work and it getting me closer to God, it's just kind of the realization that, like, as you were saying, like it got you closer to your purpose. I think it helped me to understand like my mental health temperament, the stuff that I deal with, and how that is purpose. So it's like through stage and performance and writing, I can reach people and influence women, but I also can stay away from being too close to be hurt because I have all these wounds. So it's like I can show up in authentic femininity and just show what that looks like when you're not performing through performance. So it's like the weird but it's something that really it fuels me and it keeps me on my toes because I have daughters and I was like I don't want them to ever be in the position where they feel like they have to shrink themselves to be
Yeah.
behind a lover's mission just to say that all I yearn for is to be validated by romantic love. So I'm
Right.
going to chase after this instead of my own purpose. It's one
yeah.
thing if you are purpose to do that, but
Yeah.
if you are not, it's going to rub up against your spirit
Yeah.
for a while. And I never thought that I was purpose for romantic love. I always thought that I wanted it and it was always something I wanted, but it was never like, this is the thing but somehow, like, after getting involved in the church, it just became the thing because it doesn't matter. Like, I used to do sermons in the church. We used to do a lot of stuff in the church. Like, but the biggest thing was me and his relationship. That's what people cared about. Our wedding,
Yeah.
I didn't know half the people at our wedding. One guy was like, I'm a
I
photographer.
was
I was
there,
like, who
turned
hired
up.
you? What are you doing with the pictures? Like we had celebrity status and I was just like the it girl because I was married to a man
Mm.
and I was just like
I
I
remember
feel like there's
everybody was
more
like, y'all going to the wedding. The wedding was the talk of the town. I mean, everybody, I was like, well, before I go to the wedding, I need to go by the liquor store because this is going to be going to be a celebration.
we couldn't dance. The DJ played Negro spirituals at the because we were just that I was the goody I was the goody two shoes virgin church girl that was highly sought, right? I didn't know that because I was only fixated on one person, but apparently the adults talked me up as like she's like the one that you marry, you
Mhm.
know? So there's all this in part of it felt authentic to me, but like looking back then was that 20 something years ago, like 19, my daughter's 19 years ago, and looking at who I am now, that was not my purpose to be behind
Yeah.
some man's purpose. And I kept trying to manage up and lead from the back. And
Mhm.
I was just like, and
Mhm.
it's been a pattern that I've fallen into, with romantic relationships, just like that performance of femininity in the black community is servitude. You just sacrifice. You
Mhm.
just love unconditionally, and they cheat, you take them back. They
Mhm.
disrespect you, you get over it. Like that's just the role that you play. And it was just like I was coming from a very wounded place,
Mhm.
and I had to knock all that down and be like, okay, this is not good because I literally wrote a blog post called There's a Demon That Follows Me and I Can't Escape It. Like I felt demonically oppressed the way that I was just a dark energy, especially when I started getting into sleeping around. And that was all the void of like playing the seductress, like being like, okay, this is what you want. If I notice that someone wants me, then I have to play into that role. And it's so funny. I talked about this on the podcast when I was grieving and I tried to go back to an ex last year. And the whole thing that turned me off from the trip was that I was like, I am performing. I'm like trying to be sexy right now. And it grossed me out because I love a granny panty and to sit around and just do nothing and just be. And I think it's harder to exist in as a woman in this environment where it's like you are allowed to be yourself. You don't even have to perform kindness. You get to be a wild thing and exist, but society always wants you to exist in a specific way. So it's been a lot of deconstruction work that has led to me getting here and being closer to God, realizing that God is not a patriarchal male figure. God is a spirit. So
Mhm.
it's societal expectations who have boxed women in this way. And once I realized, like, oh, God sees me as like a person who has individual purpose and interests and exist outside of who you gonna pair me up with next because I need
Mhm.
my husband.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I am really embarrassed
Yeah.
by how long it took me to deconstruct.
Shoot, I think it takes a lot of it. I think we're on and making good timing because there's people
Yeah, I was
who
about to say,
take a
what?
long time and
You doing
still
great.
go to their
You're doing great.
grave and not knowing and doing the work that you were able to do in that
Because
space.
no one is half the battle.
It is knowing is half the
Knowing
battle.
is
It's the
it's the
One,
people that
hardest.
it's the people that's still in that program and don't even know it.
I have no
Oh
clue.
yeah.
Those are the
Well,
people who are in trouble.
because one of the traps that we bought into um as black people that was brought here to the United States of America is that, oh, your happiness isn't here.
It's the
Your
leaning. It's
your
the leaning.
Sorry, I
grab
was like, talk about it.
No,
Let's talk
she
about
was leaning in like, what is that?
your happiness is not here. Your happiness is you got to wait for your happiness when you get to heaven. So
Don't
before
say
you
that. I
before
still tell myself that. I still tell myself that. And sometimes I'll talk to a coworker who's like neutral and she's not really as like in the church and stuff. And sometimes she'll say stuff to me and she'll be like, "You're really like hard on yourself." Because I literally say to myself, I'll be like, "It's okay. I just gotta make it."
You, no, happiness is
So thanks for
now.
pointing out
Right
that
Joy
now.
that's
is
so
now.
It's
problematic.
Like,
right now.
heaven is here. Like we
That's
could
it.
we don't have to wait
Yeah.
to work in our purpose and our calling and to be
Yeah.
true and authentic and
You
experience
gonna make me
joy and
cry.
everything.
Yeah,
Like
hey,
we
well,
it,
you
it
get go
is.
go go ahead, get on out the couch,
Yeah,
out of the
yeah. Go
camera,
ahead
and
out
get
the
your
camera
tissue and
because I'm gonna
shit.
keep talking.
Cause
It is
yeah, cause you
here
need to
right
know
now. Right
right
now.
now,
Your joy is not
now,
waiting for
now.
some
Ev-
event.
Everything about God is
Is
now.
now in the moment.
Yeah, God is not a tomorrow
Period.
God. God is a
Period.
now God.
Right now.
Right now. You deserve happiness right now. Love and
Period.
You go
relationship
through so
right
much
now.
pain and trauma,
Yeah.
and it just makes you believe like I always say, like, as long as my kids are good, as long as my kids don't have to feel this pain, and if it skips a generation, that's fine. Like, yeah, that's my thing. I'm like, oh, maybe it just skips a generation. It's like,
Right
Mm-mm.
maybe
now.
that's not for
Mm-mm.
me. Maybe I can't have that. And that's like literally this
Right
healthy
now.
conversation I think I've been having with God. And it's like,
Right now.
it's
Yeah.
wanting to be realistic, like the if it happens, that's great. And I know that's not Bible, and I know that's not Jesus. I know that's not God, because God is like have faith and act as if it's happened. And
That's
I
it.
know that cognitively, but
Speak
still,
what
I
you
just
see till you
realize
have what
now
you say.
I'm always like, I
But
don't
a
think that's
part of
gonna
it,
happen.
but I think that a part of it though is um a part of it is rooted in perspective, right? Because going back to what you said about, kind of romanticizing relationships and wanting connection and stuff like that. And, we get on this call and you want connection, but you got people to be connected to. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? You have people to be connected to that you could be connected to more often if you could be more connected to them. But if you fall into the idea that this is how it is, then that is the wall being built against the people who you are saying, God, reveal these people to me. God, I need
yeah.
to see my people.
It's
Your
it's
people,
a it, I
your people
struggle with
exist.
the scarcity mindset.
Yeah,
It's a church thing, it's a black
yeah,
community thing, and it's
yeah.
if you're a child of a boomer, you should look into childhood emotional neglect and the
Oh,
ramifications
100%.
of
Oh
that.
my gosh.
Yeah.
100%.
So
Whew.
it's that thing like I've become, and then more scars from being an artist and just becoming super avoidant in scarcity mindset when it's
Yeah,
like, oh, I'm just alone in this. Like I have some stuff going on and I'm like, I have to figure out how to do this alone. And I'm like, I'm alone. And then, we log on to do this thing because I'm like, this is work. And I just want to have the work ethic to not cancel and be like, I can't do this today. But then I'm like, this is not work. This is a love project. And I get to talk to
right.
my friends. And the first thing y'all
Yeah,
did was like uplift me. And I was like,
Mm.
I forget that I have these resources, even when I ask for them. And even when I'm asking for them, I'm doing it wrong because I'm like, if you just spare a crumb,
no.
and
we are
things
cake.
cannot
We
be
are a
super
cake.
terrible.
Yeah.
Ain't
And
no
they can
crumbs
just
over here.
like,
Yeah.
This is a full sheet. Ain't no
Indeed.
crumbs over here. You can eat off
Indeed.
of it. You can live off of this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You can live
Mm-hmm.
off of this right here. Period.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
Mm-hmm.
period.
yeah.
It's
I'm not
to
used
now,
to
today.
having, yeah, people in my life who meet me at a certain level. And I'm used to lamenting about it. And I'm sure, I'll post an emo poem about it. I know TK's like this.
Nah, I mean, but that's why this
It's
podcast
forever
exists.
work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why this podcast exists in the
Yeah.
first place. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
So
Um,
it said these are they that overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony.
that's
You know
it.
what I'm saying? It's like we overcome throughout the sacrifices and the challenges and the hard
Yeah,
times. But
yeah,
then when we start to speak things, we start to speak things into existence, like we mentioned, that are not. Like it's wild out here.
yeah,
But you know what? I am experiencing heaven.
yeah,
Heaven is here. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? My cup is over right now. I'm sitting here trying to figure out how I'm gonna make ends meet on certain aspects. But you know what? I have everything that I need.
That's it.
I have wealth.
That's
You know what I'm
it.
saying? I don't I'm not waiting for, money to hit my money resources is already there. And so
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like it's putting yourself, they call it in science almost, when you're bending the timeline. Right.
Yeah.
And I think science talks about a lot of things in spirituality. The
uh-huh.
same,
Oh,
it's just
absolutely.
they're they talk about
Yep,
it differently, but it's the same concept.
It's the
It's
correct.
same.
like,
Yeah.
speak those things to exist or not. That's bending the time. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? You gotta, if 10 years from now is your future self. Bend that time. Let it be now.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get my future body, right? Like I was like, Randy, you're gonna get this six pack. You're gonna, I've always wanted to have like this physique.
Really?
I've always wanted to have a physique. Like that's been my thing. And so lately, I've been envisioning myself walking around with no shirt on, and feeling seeing my pecs and stuff. Like I'm envisioning it. It's I want it for myself. Call
yeah,
it
Sorry,
vain,
I
call it
love
what you
when
say.
men share this stuff.
yeah,
And so I'm seeing myself there. But lo and behold, I see myself there every day. So I'm working out more. Like I see it, I'm there. So if I'm there,
Because
my
you're
future self is
maintaining the
working
body.
out. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
Yeah.
working out more and I'm just being more mindful of my to
yeah,
an extent of
yeah.
my food and my intake. And so I'm starting to see, I'm like, oh, I got a little, wait a minute. If
Uh-oh.
I just
I
go
got
this
one
way,
can.
if I
I
go
got
this
one
way,
can in my
if I
six.
get a little angle, you know what I'm saying? I see it. I see
Uh-oh, that's
it. You
two
know what I'm
cans.
saying? I see it. You know what I'm saying? And
I
so
love
it's just
that.
like
I love
those
that.
things that you just
Yeah,
you find yourself in the
yeah,
position that you call on,
yeah,
that you speak on.
yeah,
And so it gets so hard to when you don't see it or
yeah,
when things are when you physically see turmoil and when you physically see chaos and when you physically see depression and all this stuff right in front of you, feel it in your body.
yeah,
It's hard to take yourself
yeah,
time leap out of that
yeah,
and see
Yeah.
yourself in a different position and
Yeah.
call it
yeah,
earlier. So
Yeah. I've literally like wrote in my journal yesterday, I said, as a man thinketh, your thought process about yourself is not
yeah,
calibrated right now. You need to get back into that energy because that's why you're spiraling into despair. And it was really affirming for me that you said, we overcome by the word of our testimony. That is literally my motto for because essentially the poems I do are regular boring stories that Black women go through. He cheated on me. I was emotionally abused. Like, aside from the social justice stuff, but I feel very purposed in it because I feel like it's always been important for me to share my mundane story of how I allowed my self-esteem to be so low, to get played, and how my life spiraled because of it. It's a typical Tyler Perry movie. Nobody's interested, but they are because all of our stories have to be told, and that is
mhm,
like a way that I overcome it. So that is I appreciated that. Yeah, I hope that, having a show this weekend will be cathartic to be able
mhm,
to get it out. Yeah, because I feel like I'm holding a lot just based on what I'm going through, but it helps me to always go back to that basis of what am I deconstructing? And the main thing I'm always deconstructing is that performative femininity, the wounded damsel in distress, like the situation I'm going through. I'm like, I was freaking out and I'm just like, there's nobody here to help me. And then I was like, or you could just plan this really hard route that is not going to be easy, but you will get it done and you're going to be fine. You don't have
mhm,
to do the damsel in distress break down, go into a depressive episode, spend money you don't have, and then make the situation worse. You can just like make a plan and stick to it. Like, yeah, like what you were
then you
saying,
can
just
ask
like
for help.
bend the timeline. Yeah.
mhm,
It's
mhm,
just,
mhm.
I really appreciate this is like really what I needed. So
We
Well,
got
so
you.
you know what?
for
When you
other
think
people.
about it, right? So
Mhm,
I don't know where I ever first heard this, but like in theory, every day, we're living in a world where we are placing an order. You know what I mean? We are placing an order every day in all of our actions from the time we wake up in the morning to the time we go to bed. Everything we do is like placing an order. That's kind of how like the faith works, right? But we're
mhm,
calling out into, the universe and and what we're pulling back into ourselves. And imagine ordering a taco and saying, I don't want tomatoes, I don't want cheese, I don't want lettuce, I don't want all of that. You just want meat. Versus saying, can I just have a taco with meat on it, please? You know what I'm saying? like a lot of times we look at all of the things that we don't want and we try to communicate what we do want out of life through the things that we don't want to experience.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
unfortunately, by the time you stand in the window, because this is we
You
already
talked
have
about what you don't want.
we
Oops.
already have a barrier, right? Because we're at the drive-through and there's somebody on the other side and they can already barely hear and all these things. And by the time you done said all of that, they heard was lettuce and tomato and they ain't hear I don't want. And then you
Mhm.
get up there and it's all wrong because of how we communicated what we wanted,
Mm.
how we asked for what we needed, how we put it out into the universe on our behalf in the first place.
Mhm.
And I think that we just have to get more disciplined
Mm.
in speaking life over ourselves,
Yeah,
even when
it's super
we are
important.
not feeling like it. That's the
Mm.
discipline of it. You know what I mean? Even when we don't have the motivation to actually fulfill the work, we have to have the discipline at least to speak it.
Mhm.
You know what
It
I'm saying?
so I've been I just been really been on this science kick and just figuring out how life works through the lens of science.
Hmm.
And one of the things that was recently discovered in s- science is that the vibration, like when we speak, it's a vibration. Like the your voice, the your vibration carries over 1 billion miles away into outer space. The vibration of your voice, the vibration carries. And I had to think about that thing. I'm like, wow, that's really powerful to know that the words that I speak has carries so the vibration of the words that I speak carries so far away.
So what you
To and
say here happens in the spiritual realm. That's what that proves. That's
essentially,
Period.
wild.
isn't that wild?
And that's why it's a
Isn't
now
that
thing,
wild?
not a later
Yeah,
thing. That's
isn't
why it's
that
a now
wild?
thing.
Is it so wild to think about? And that's why I try to be so careful with my words now, even because I know that words are powerful. It literally not just it's a powerful
Yeah.
tool when we open up our mouths and decree and declare good, bad, and indifferent, And so, um, I why not take that goodness and speak it into myself? Like, why not? Like, wow, if my words are that powerful, let me speak it to myself. Let me encourage myself. Let me, do the things that I need to do to work myself through, speak myself out of certain situations. And that's why I have speak for a cause. You know what I'm saying? I speak
Yeah.
change because I am really careful over the words that I speak and what I
Yeah.
choose to say. Now, like you say, I don't get it perfect. I'm human. As
Yeah.
TK said,
Yeah.
I'm human. I say things, but I know
Niggas gonna
that
nig.
my words can be very damaging.
Yeah.
And I've seen
Yeah.
my words be extremely damaging. I'm like,
And
And
I
can I
wow.
hear it right
get,
away.
Yeah.
I hear it
yeah.
right
Yeah.
away.
Hmm.
And I'll even go further and say, like,
Yeah.
we're poets. It actually
Yes.
is that serious. And I've spoken
Mhm.
some
Oh my
things into
God.
my life where I knew, like, I've joked about like friendships ending and then they came to an end. Joked every time I've said I'm ride or die for a person, that person was yanked out. That's not like
Mhm.
that. Like, no, you're not riding for no dying for nobody but me. It's like I've seen it happen in real time,
Yep.
things that I speak, and then they manifest. Like
Yep.
soon after. And that's why it's so interesting that everyone's like, oh, I'm manifesting that. And I'm like, well, you can manifest all willy nilly if you want to, but my manifestations are with God. I want to make sure I'm manifesting the right thing
Yes.
of
Mhm.
the entity that knows my heart. But I do think, yeah, there is a lot of power in words, and like over the years doing poetry, writing and performing it made me realize that yeah, it's just nothing to play around with. It really
Mhm.
isn't.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you got to think like by the time you are speaking, that's like the third stage. That it's almost the
Mm.
stamp on it.
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
why it's so powerful.
Hmm.
Because that's why we are encouraged to be slow to speak
Yes.
and meditate and think, because basically we are saying, once we say something, we are putting our seal on it.
There you
You know what I'm
go.
saying? Our
There you go.
seal is that every time
Mm-hmm.
you say a word out loud, you have
It's
put your
signed,
thing,
sealed,
you
and
have
delivered.
certified
Mm-hmm.
that thing
Mm-hmm.
and put it into motion,
Mm-hmm.
because it was an idea
Uh-huh.
that may not have quite been a thought yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then the idea translates into you thinking and meditating on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then after having done that, you speak on it to seal it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
why you can't get out of it,
Uh-huh.
because you had plenty of time to course correct your words
Mm-hmm.
by repentance and
Mm-hmm.
changing your thoughts so that your words align. By the time you let your words get out and you
It's
It's
been
didn't
all
do all
decided.
the work that led up
it's
to
gonna
it,
tatter.
that
Mm-hmm.
is the
Mm-hmm.
problem. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Right
Mm-hmm.
there. Because you've had plenty of opportunity to do this right.
Ooh. People who don't
It's
like
the
to hold
By the
themselves
time it's
accountable
coming
ain't
out of
gonna
our
like
mouth,
you.
well,
by the time it's coming out of our mouth, it is our responsibility.
it is our
At the point of
responsibility.
thought, it's something that came in that we're allowed to reject. We can return to sender anything we need to. Every thought that comes into our mind is not our own.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Every word that we say out of our mouth, we are accountable
It
to.
is
You can think things, you could even feel things. Once you say things, that's you.
Mm-hmm.
That's you. You got to own all of the words that come out of your mouth, even though you could reject any thought that comes into your
Mm-hmm.
mind.
Mm-hmm. They say it's
She
first
like,
you
oh shit, here we
yeah
go.
you first
Why did I tell her to come on here
You
with
come
you?
on, Jay. Toes off.
We should
uh-huh.
have let her eat her sandwich.
I know, right? So, along those lines, you hit it. You hit it. It's that the when once you think it, and the sealer, you start ruminating. It's the belief. You think
That's
it, and
it.
then once you believe it,
As a
that's
man
that's the
thinketh in his
seal.
heart,
It.
so is
So
he. It's
is
It's
all
it once
he.
yes.
you believe
That's
it, and then you say it. Believe it. The
Woo,
believing is the
right
sealing
there.
it. But
Yeah.
once you say it, it's out there. And
Yeah.
like you
That's
say,
it.
it's yours
That's it.
because you believe it and you
Yeah.
hold to
Yeah.
it and it
Yeah.
becomes life. You
That's
know what I'm
it.
saying? Words is
Which in
life and
turn,
energy.
just furthers the believing it, because
Yes.
now you are hearing it.
Mm-hmm.
You actually saying it is now you actually hearing it too. And faith comes by hearing. So now
Yes.
you have built the faith into the thought. Now
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
have said it and built more faith into the belief.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you got to be concerned about what you say. You
Mm-hmm.
got to be concerned about what you say, because your ears will hear it first.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And
Wow.
you
And
and
it
if you
could
don't
be
cast
that's
down
that boomerang.
imaginations,
I'm
that's
telling
what
you.
that's for.
I'm
That
telling you.
that's what they call that. They call it you call it different things. Some people call it karma. You know what I'm saying? You hear it, it's coming back to you. You know, it's
Yeah.
Right. That's you. You got that shit
Yeah.
from you.
You're
You know
reaping
what I'm
what you
saying?
sow. Yeah.
Yeah. And you
No, that's
sowed those
oh my
words.
gosh. I have so many affirmations I need to speak over my life because I just have
Yeah. Say that shit.
Mhm. You
it's
and me
it's
both.
easy to do. Yeah. And just think how we've created the new realm of social media and how people talk to you crazy on there. All the negativity that's spewing back and forth that you're reading and then taking
Yeah.
in the other way. Yeah, it's
I be feeling bad because I don't think that I'm a consumer. And then I feel bad because then I'm like, wow, but you want people to consume your stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I literally get on there, I go do what I'm going to do, and then I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Because I know that it's not really like I'm trying to build a spiritual algorithm that only brings me the things that align
if
with
you
me.
don't want to
You
see
know
my
what I'm saying?
content, just say that.
I mean, I love your content. What are you talking about?
That's that
You know what
shit.
I'm saying? But I'm literally like, so I really feel I'm not like misusing the platform, but I know that I literally am getting in there and getting out just because there's so much on it. Like I can't even like filter through all of the
Yeah.
garbage. You know what I'm saying? Be too much. It's like it's too big of a mountain to climb to get to the one thing I needed. I had to look at all of this first. No, I'm good. I'm gonna just turn within.
No,
Find it within because
I
everything
feel like
I
that's smart
have.
because
Everything I need, I have. You know what I mean? Type because I just can't be consuming all of that. It's too heavy
it's a lot.
sometimes.
We are
Yeah, we're not.
programmable
But again, we gotta
computers.
be
We
in the
are
world, but we gotta be
programmable.
we gotta be in
Very
the world, but
programmable.
not of the world though. That's the whole point. So like we
Hmm.
do still have to
Yeah.
exist in these places in order to be, you know what I mean, what we've been purposed to be. But then of course, God goes before us to set everything up on our behalf. You know what I mean? So then I also, trust in that part too. But sometimes it's just like, bruh, what am I looking at? Bruh, what am I hearing? You know what I mean? Like, let me hurry up and get in here and get out of here. So I feel you.
Relatable content. This has been a robust episode. I'm gonna do this publicly on the episode to be trifling and put him on the spot. But I think that Randy should join us for the first Thursday's episodes or the second Thursday episodes.
Of
I'm
course.
just saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Not this season, next season, because
I
that's just
got
like
you.
our episode where we catch up and we just talk about whatever topic. So yeah, I think we're a cool trio.
I got you. I listen, I
So,
love
so
vibing out with y'all.
Are we first or are we second? I thought we were
This
first and
is
then they were
this is
second.
the we're second. It's second and fourth, and on the fourth Thursdays we have a guest. So I'm saying second Thursdays we should do the three of
Gotcha.
us, and then
Gotcha.
yeah, because I know Randy in that time be limited. Yeah, but you are extended invitation for you to come back as recurring to chop it up any second
Of
Thursday that you're
course.
free. We would love to have you because I think they're just
Yeah.
We
like
will.
robust conversations. And it's just good for the brand because people think I hate men, and I be trying to tell them like some of my closest friends.
Hey
They
man.
listen to me when I be like, it's because they don't like women. Y'all just be like, here she goes.
But honestly, anybody that knows better knows better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I get self conscious about it, you know. It
Anybody,
just, but
anybody that knows better knows better. That's it.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's what I'm like. I've had to come to terms with that a lot in losing relationships and partnerships and all of that. And when people, if people gravitate to an idea about me that is not me, they want it to.
yeah. I need you
And
to trust. Oh
and
my
they
God,
didn't
talk about it.
and and they didn't know me because the people who know me. You know
They
what I'm saying?
know. Yeah,
So
yeah,
I just had to learn that the people that are saying things about me that are not true is
Yeah.
because they don't know
That
me.
don't know you. Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah,
yeah, we're
yeah.
not
Because
worried about them.
it's a pipeline, and it's I framed it under like wounded femininity, performative femininity. But what it is, oftentimes in the Black community, church community, it's male centeredness. I've been taught to overlove men. So I'm recalibrating. So
Yeah.
it's so interesting that it always looks like you hate men, and I
And
just don't explain.
it's not you loving men less, it's you loving men better. And
Healthily, yeah.
right, that's it.
That's
Is
the
you
whole,
loving men
yeah,
better. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And not
yeah.
at your own expense.
And not at, and I think that's
That's all
how
this
we've been
is you loving
socialized.
men in a way that's not at your expense. You know what I'm
Tell that
saying?
to the dudes at open mics who be trying to confront me after the show.
But that's because they are healed
Yeah.
and unhinged,
Yeah.
and they need something to validate that.
Yes,
And
indeed.
them listening to you through the lens of their hurt helps them validate those terrible feelings that they have. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That is their hurt and their wounds displaced. That's why they act like that. Because anybody that knows better would sit there and hear what you're saying and say, damn, man, they should actually come up to you and apologize on another person's behalf versus
It
feeling
happens once
offended.
in a blue moon.
Yeah, once in a blue
Once
moon,
in a blue
still,
moon.
but
Yeah.
once in a
But
blue moon,
um
still, it still happen.
yeah, that it used to be like a sub purpose for my work was reaching men so that they could have more empathy for the plight of women. And it's recently where I was just like, just focus on women and girls,
That's
and that's your niche, and
yeah.
it's okay
Well,
that
yeah, because the men who want to understand will.
They
they will.
understand.
Yeah, and it happens by default, and I don't have to perform femininity. I
Correct.
don't
Yeah,
have to
no.
Right.
after shows go up
Right.
to them and like apologize for my words or like how
No.
I show up or
Remind
anything. Like I
them.
didn't want to offend you. Like we're not
Uh-uh.
doing that. And
Yeah.
it's so funny because now I have a band of men who play instruments behind me. Like, yeah.
But that's the thing. A man that's offended by you should consider himself.
Why are you offended? Why are you
Right.
why are
Yeah.
you
Right.
do the work to understand why
Right.
you offended?
Yeah. That's on you
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you have taken offense.
Mhm.
You are not giving offense. You are taking it. What are you talking
Yeah.
about? You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
we gotta have that podcast episode because offense
Yeah.
has the community in a chokehold.
Yeah, no, you take offense. That is not given to you. You have to take responsibility for how you feel about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. But I'm here for it. They say we're two or
Yeah.
three are gathered, so a
Mhm.
third can't hurt us.
Yeah.
There I am
I
in the
just,
midst.
yeah. This is the
Third
only way
can't
that
hurt us.
I can enjoy friendship is through working.
Hey, you see, we
Listen, I
go
feel the
back.
same way. Listen, we
Bro,
here.
whoa. We just talked about speaking and what we gonna say. And you just got on here talking about this the only way. And then when we come back 2 weeks from now, every day up until this day gonna be a day like what she just said. Because she just said that.
Yeah, you're
You are
right.
not waiting on us to get on this screen to have positive relationships. You're gonna have them wherever
Okay,
you
okay.
go with
I
whoever
meant
you
to say
see.
that I struggle with letting people in. So the way that I allow people to be in
Yeah,
space
we're
and
not even gonna
community is
say that.
through work.
We're gonna
In the
say
past,
in the right, okay, in the past.
stricter.
That's right. Shit.
Well, it's wild because I mean,
Look,
just the
You
fact,
can relate.
just because the fact of trying to, you know, practice speaking positivity and speaking that way. I mean, again, it just goes back to just deconstructing because even in my prayers, I had to learn how to pray, like
mhm.
to pray
Yeah,
because my prayer was like, "Oh God, I'm not worthy. God, I did this, and God, I mean, it is so
yeah.
low.
hmm
How
Yeah.
is that healing when
We
you're
got ego
coming
trip
at
over
us?"
here. We got to bring our Nikki Giovanni into this thing and ego trip on ourselves. Like you guys say it with your chest and say it right.
Yes, yes.
I
Declare it.
don't I don't
Speak it.
struggle with healthy relationships.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I'm not avoiding the things that God has for me.
No.
I'm accepting all of it.
All of it. Every last
Ready
drop.
for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I'm
I
gonna put
don't
that
have to wait.
journaling prompt. I gotta figure out how to articulate it, but that would be cool to go on the page, just like reworking the negative things you
Yeah.
say and turning
That's
them into
it.
positive affirmations. Because I've really
And
been
same.
struggling with a lot of things, and it's so corny, but I'm like, you are lovable and worthy
Yeah.
of love. Like
Yeah.
and I keep like saying it, and I'll have like, an instance of being rejected or misunderstood, and I'll be like, I'm lovable. It's crazy, but it's a rewiring that it's like something I say to myself
And it
automatically when
takes
I'm feeling
time.
unloved.
Well, that's
Hmm.
Yeah.
well, that's the problem though. We expect something that took years for us to become
Hmm.
to be undone in a moment. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we have to
Immediately.
we have to keep saying the thing that
Yeah.
needs to be said, and we have to say it more when we don't want to. That
Hmm.
is the real cracking of the code.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? The real cry. It's like when they say, go to the gym when you don't feel like it. Do this
Yeah.
thing when you don't want to. That is cracking the code because if you just do
Mm.
things based off how you feel, if you need motivation in order to be something, then you are not something.
Yeah.
The
The discipline
discipline is
is
where it
in
kicks in.
being
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
even when
just
you don't
being
harder.
it,
feel like being it.
being it.
So it's way easier to say I'm lovable when you feel lovable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The time you need to reaffirm that is when you don't feel like it. In the
Mm-hmm.
face of adversity is when we have
Mm-hmm.
to say that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Because that is how we rewrite what's happening and
Mm.
turn that shit around. So yeah, we
That's
call it.
good.
We're not gonna be
I
on
love
here
it.
saying things that we're gonna leave this. The whole point of this call is for us to leave better than we came. We
Better.
definitely not closing a call, getting off here saying something
Mm-mm.
opposite of what we calling into existence.
Not at all. And on
Not
that, ladies
today.
and
Not with
gentlemen,
these friends.
this is signed, sealed, and delivered again.
Yeah, this is serious business. This is
Mm-hmm.
all fun and games, serious business.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
where I want to leave it? The thought that just popped into my head. I love my friends.
That's it. Amen.
Yes, yes,
I love my friends too.
yes. Yep. Likewise. I
That's it.
love my friends
That's it.
and the support that I get.
That's it.
Thank you. This has been season 2, episode 8 of the Everybody Can't Go podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. What's the YouTube stuff? Like, share, subscribe, tell your homies and your
Do it.
All
friends,
that.
and
All
catch
that.
us
Do it.
on the
Do it.
Instagram page. We have so much more. We're coming up on our last 2 episodes for the season, and then we have more for you next season. So just follow us on Everybody Can't Go podcast Instagram to just keep up with us all year long. And yeah, tune into these episodes and ride us out into the season. Thank you for joining,
All right.
and
Peace and
peace
blessings.
to you.
Peace.